All right, guys, welcome back to a nice game three. Once again, I'm Hans, joined by my man, Big Papa Sims. What's going on, Sims?
Yo, I'm getting excited for this third game we got going on here.
Indeed, we are going to be seeing much the band. I'm just gonna restart here. Coming on over for the bans from the side of Virginia Commonwealth, we are going to be seeing that Caitlyn ban. Ever since game one, where Drexel was able to pick up that Caitlyn, they definitely just don't want to hand that over to him again. They definitely don't want to see it along with that Oriana. They were able to do really well in team fights. However, Drexel is trying to counter them up. Pixel Bob was doing really well on the Swain on over to the side of Virginia Commonwealth during the first game. However, they just weren't able to take his success and translate it to the rest of the team. Again, with Anivia, she did pretty well, kind of sustaining throughout the first game. They were doing a lot better. Throughout the second game, they were doing really well. Um, However, they are going to be banning out that Sejuani again, just to make sure that Virginia Commonwealth doesn't pick it up like they did in the first game, as well as Virginia Commonwealth banning out the Olaf so that Drexel doesn't pick it up like they played last game, and they're going to be first picking that Zac. I apologize. I don't know if I misstated, but Drexel played Olaf in game two. They want to make sure that they don't get Olaf again, but they are going to be sacrificing that Twitch ban, which they banned the first two games. They are going to be giving Drexel that Twitch pick.
And that
But
was the
back to
first
them.
ban of both of the other games, and so it definitely is a contested pick on the side of Drexel, and I bet they're happy to finally see that coming their way this game.
Indeed, and something to throw out there is that last game for the bans, they did actually first ban Twitch, and then they banned Morgana along with banning Oriana, I believe. It was oh no, it was Caitlyn for the first three. It was Twitch, Morgana, and Caitlyn, I think. But now they're actually letting that Morgana slide on over to Drexel along with that Twitch pick, while Virginia Commonwealth is going to be picking up that Zac, which Drexel played in game one. However, to throw in something as a nice little curveball there, we got my favorite boy Bard over here on the side of Virginia Commonwealth. Hopefully, they do me proud. They are also going to be having Tristana to hopefully scale up towards the later game to have a lot of range. As long as she can make it through the nerfs to her early game with her decreased initial auto range, I think that they'll be able to do well in the mid to late game.
Absolutely, Tristana is one of those late game carries you never want to see pop up on the other team. If it ends up getting to that point, she's definitely going to be able to outrange anyone on that team, especially the Twitch. They're definitely going to have to be working for that pick potential. They got the Twitch, they got the Morgana. I'm not too familiar on Hong Fu on Lee Sin, but hey, we might be able to see some flashy plays coming out and, getting it going.
As we are going to see Virginia Commonwealth ban out that Azir. Drexel was doing really well in the Azir last game. They picked up a lot of kills. They were able to dish out a lot of AoE damage there. However, Drexel, oddly enough, is going to ban out Galio and Trundle. Almost like they're handicapping themselves because last game they had a lot of success with Trundle split pushing, and the game prior to, Raul the Croaker played Galio into a Swain. They are going to be picking for both mid laners and top laners. Looks like they're going to be hovering this Aurelion Soul for the mid lane on over to the
They've
side of
been
Drexel.
they've been
As they're
teasing
switching
that
on over.
Aurelion Soul this entire pick ban phase. We'll see if they end up going with it. If they do lock in the Vladimir, more than likely, I bet we'd be seeing it top lane. Drexel has had issues with their top lane losing early game, and so why not give them the a champion that has some of the highest sustain in the game?
Indeed, Vladimir is doing really well in the top side. Very good sustain if he can poke him down. And to a Camille pick here, it may be a little bit hard for him just because on the side of Virginia Commonwealth, their strongest member in the laning phase has been their top laner. it's nice for Drexel to still have that little bit of a safe pick on Vladimir with him being able to just W on out of most situations. However, he may be flexed into either the mid or top lane. We don't quite know here because they are hovering that Jace. Now they're going to be switching on over to Maokai. So it could very easily be. Oh, and we're switching on over to Cho'Gath. So it could very easily be a flex pick. We could see. We are going to be seeing. Um, Vladimir traded to the top side. Now him going down into the mid lane. Cho'Gath finally getting swapped back up. So Cho'Gath is going to be in the top lane. We're going to be seeing Lee Sin in the jungle, Vladimir mid with a Morgana Twitch in the bot lane. However, we seem to be seeing a delay here on the side of Virginia Commonwealth. We're going to be seeing their ADC mid.
So this is one of the Virginia Commonwealth's special tactics that they have. They have a very versatile team that can flex into different positions, and so this is technically allowed under ACEL rules. What's going to happen is Quanzilla is going to be going bottom on that Tristana, even though he is traditionally middle, he is allowed under ACEL rules to flex into bot lane.
It's going to be very interesting, especially with them here just flexing on into their different positions. It's going to be nice to see maybe them change it up, maybe them come back here, just switching it up. It will be interesting to see though where Zach decides to prioritize his time. Because traditionally on the side of Virginia Commonwealth, they have been focusing more of the top, and in the last game, kind of trying to do a little bit more in the mid lane. However, Drexel's been very good at focusing the bottom and mid lanes, definitely trying to get their bottom lane ahead, as their ADC and support have been doing really well across all games. With that Lee Sin being that very nice early pick, I wouldn't even be surprised to see some early invades from the side of Drexel.
They definitely have that more aggressive team for the early game. Zach's not really known for his early game prowess, but Lee Sin always has that percent health damage on that Q, and so he can definitely pull off some things that you might not be able to see from a squishier early game champion such as Zach. Ching, See what I did there?
It will definitely be interesting to see this Camille Cho'Gath lane play out. I haven't quite seen it too much. Definitely very almost reminds me of even though I'm not a big fan of the show, Attack on Titan, just because we have heard the memes whenever Camille was announced that she's basically Riot trying to tap into that market. Gonna be seeing her just fight this huge monster, even though it's not necessarily like some giant humanoid. It's still kind of interesting to see the comparison there, just to feed the meme.
Down.
You're picking up what I'm putting it now?
I'm getting you.
You feeling me now, Mr. Krabs? This would have gone a lot better last game with that giant enemy crab god. That would have been real funny. However, I do feel like Drexel, with them having Cho'Gath, it is going to be a little bit easier for them to kind of turtle out. He does have that sustain, whereas Camille doesn't have too much of it. She has a little bit of sustain from her W, but as long as Cho can farm, he's definitely going to be getting that sustain from the minions killed. As well as if he's able to get some of his stacks up, he's going to be just a huge threat in the late game as well. I really want to see if he still does the traditional Cho'Gath strat of rushing into a gargoyle stoneplate second or third item, just to pop it in the middle of a team fight, flash ult the ADC, and just completely one-shot them.
If it definitely gets to that point, it's always something you got to worry about.
It is going to be interesting. I'm kind of bummed to see Pool Party Lee Sin picked up here on the side of Drexel Dragons, especially with the new reworked lore for Lee Sin. with him being the embodiment of the spirit of the dragon. It definitely is kind of nice to see them more channeling that inner potential from their team mascot there.
Team mascot, oh boy.
Yeah,
The Drexel Dragons.
The Drexel Dragons at it again.
With a two-game lead. Can they finish out the series here? Make it a clean 3-0, or will Virginia Commonwealth be able to come back with this on the back of this Tristana and take us to a game 4? We'll see. Lots of pings coming out from the side of Drexel. They're ready to start fighting.
As they all go straight towards this river, Virginia Commonwealth is going to be trying to flank around the river here into the blue buff territory, trying to pick someone off as Drexel is actually flanking around trying to get some a steal on the red buff.
Hear your trash. Bow before your king. I'm dedicating this piece to you.
We would think by now, possibly, they are starting to figure out what's going on. We see Drexel trying to rotate a little bit more towards the river again, trying to kind of get some fights here. Now they definitely know where they are.
Top jukes from Zach. Uh-oh. None of the characters really stand out in this early bit. They got a couple of skill shots off here and there, but, you know, at the end of the day, only, what's that? Oh, 3 summoners blown. Everything on the bottom side of VCU is blown. Excuse me, just for their getting all sorts of tripped up. Just for their support. Meanwhile, the Cho'Gath had to use Flash and had to teleport back up the lane. Probably going to force Eckhart to do the same.
Indeed, and as they actually sit in this bush, they're going to be catching out this this Bard here for first blood going on over towards Morgana. She's going to flash away to make sure that Tristan doesn't get that last auto attack on the cask. But Tristan is definitely trying to do a little bit of damage here. As we see Cho'Gath and Camille trying to get some trades in. It was going very well, but I think Cho'Gath just didn't back out quite soon enough. We're going to be seeing Camille pop one of her one potion, whereas Cho'Gath still has a pot left, so he's just focusing on the sustain from the minions right now.
So I'm not all too familiar with the Cho'Gath Camille matchup, so we'll definitely see who has the upper hand. I know Camille has that true damage, but you know, when Cho'Gath just naturally gains, you know, health every time he presses R, it should cancel that out or negate the effects of that pretty easily.
Just seeing a little bit of poke going on in just about all the lanes.
Pro tip, you can actually click and drag the champions on that little, you know, the bottom where all the icons are, all the items are. That way you can put them in the proper spots.
I was trying to press tab to do that. I wasn't aware as to whether or not in spectator mode you could do that. But
so it doesn't work when you press tab, but you can do it just by doing that little bottom bit.
We definitely have Vladimir on from Drexel, just bullying this Lux in lane as Zach comes in just a little bit too late, and then as we talked about earlier with that Vladimir, he's just able to go and just slip away.
Oogie boogie. So it definitely looks like Drexel's coming off to that bit of a lead. Man, I missed something that happened. When did that Vladimir get that first kill?
It just happened. Him versus Lux. He popped on his Ignite, used his empowered Q, and killed her right before Zach hopped in with his E.
Well, there you go. That top side is looking very volatile, but you know what? Oh, that could be enough damage. Lee Sin has to flash in to get the safeguard.
I didn't even
It's a
notice that
QQ.
Lee Sin was on the top side of the map, to be completely honest with you. Just to see him flash E to make sure that Cho'Gath lived and then pop that double Q, it was honestly beautiful to watch. Ooh, that was so close. If Morgana had landed that binding, I feel like it would have been a tough time for Tristana to actually live. We're going to be seeing Zach with a failed gank on over towards the side of Drexel, or the failed gank on the side of Virginia Commonwealth, trying to gank Drexel. Zach's finally just going to walk away as we see Bard kind of roaming towards mid to try and collect some of his chimes. He's going to be trying to go in and actually gank with a roam onto this Bard, or onto this Vladimir here, as Vladimir does have to flash to make sure that he doesn't get snared by that Lux Q.
Bard does use his Q a little bit prematurely. He should have expected that the Vlad was going to pull and save it for a bit later, but you know, he does get to roam around, get a couple chimes, gets to come back bot lane, have a few stronger attacks for a little bit, and we'll see what can happen with the Zac being in the bottom side. See if he can get that long range gank into that that squishy twitch early parts of the game. Nope, just gonna back. Never mind. The Lee Sin going with some cheeky angles once again, but the double. Oh!
And Lee Sin said, "My mind's telling me no." And just decided to take that Q into tower range. He's definitely going to be able to W in, try and land a double Q. But it looks like it's just not going to be enough as Vladimir tries to pop his ult down for an extra bit of damage. But Lux is going to survive that as well.
Calm down, love. I'm clutching. As Pixel Bob picks up the kill mid lane. Conquer. Vladimir still trying to go for that kill mid lane. He's gonna manage to pick it up, but at the cost of his own life.
Indeed, he definitely seems to be like he just really wants to flex his dominance on this Lux to try and just be a little bit more assertive there. Make sure that she knows who's boss and that he's going to be running this during the laning phase.
Bard with a little bit of an interesting flash. Doesn't manage to stop the backing of either the Twitch or the Morgana. And so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful now that that summoner spell is down. The Cho'Gath managing to do some pretty good damage. He might be able to get the feast off. Doesn't quite have the range. He needed one more auto attack before he could chomp down on that Camille. As soon as that Cho'Gath ball gets rolling, it's very hard to stop it, especially when the jungler coming in is as it doesn't really bring the damage. You know, Zac's all about the CC, but Lee Sin managing to hit a max range Q after a beautifully timed, you know, Roadhouse. You talking about the Family Guy references.
Yeah, but well, I mean, I feel like that's also kind of just, you know, a Roadhouse reference, that in of itself.
You're right.
But we are going to be seeing them trying to fight a little bit here, and that's one thing that you do have to watch for as a Bard. A secondary Bard main myself. Like I said, I love my boy. He actually does a really almost a surprising amount of damage in their early game. I mean, you see they were both behind a level, but he was able to land 2 or 3 auto attacks, especially with those Meeps and his Q. I mean, you had Twitch at half health for that fight there, and that was going to be real easy for Bard and Tristana to try and pick up this Morgana kill, as every other member on the side of Drexel catches Zac out at his blue buff. And then Bard just going to be hunting down Morgana. While Lee Sin trying his best to stay out of tower range, but still trying half health Lux there, so it's a little bit easier on Vladimir as well with his ult up and his flash about to be up, and his ignite up I think in 20 seconds. It's going to be real easy for him to engage on here shortly.
So this Lee Sin, he's bound to be sitting on a good chunk of gold, and if you press X, you can actually see the gold tallies of you know, everyone in the game. And so we have Lee Sin sitting on a comfortable 1.4k gold in his pocket, which he's going to go back, spend, pick up that warrior enchantment. Going to be coming back out onto the Rift, doing some serious damage now. Flash from the Vladimir getting a little bit too greedy, but manages to pick up the kill. He definitely knows the matchups of that character, you know, knowing the damage numbers and getting out, well, excuse me, not getting out, but securing the kill, knowing that 2 people were coming up for the game.
Indeed, and as you said, talking about that early game assist numbers, I mean, it's definitely keeping him ahead in gold as a whole. Whenever we look at the gold difference just in the mid lane alone, I mean, you see Vladimir just died and he has almost 1,500 gold in the bank. Now he's going to spend it to get himself a ruby crystal and a amplifying tome, but just in the mid lane, he has a 1,200 gold lead there, just over Lux from his 3 kills versus her 1 kill and 2 assists, as well as Vlad having those 2 assists to help him out as well.
Here would come with the Zac with the long range gank, stunning him up for what feels like forever, and Camille's afraid of the, of the feast. Doesn't actually go in and deal much of the damage, and because of that, you know, Cho'Gath manages to pick up the kill. He might be able to get the double if the minions weren't gonna have. Oh, the heal!
Whenever he turned away to try and silence,
out of it.
yeah, whenever he turned away to try and silence Zac, I was kind of, I was just really hoping that,
oh my god, that hurts. That hurts.
It's really nice to see him getting that outplay on both Eckert and Charlie Day there. It was a beautiful play by him. I thought he was actually going to die to minions whenever he turned around to try and silence Zac. However, it was nice to see it play out. He was able to activate his E, I believe. Oh my god, I don't know what I just saw, but we saw Lee Sin pulling a Scion here, trying to be the king of Tokyo Drift over here. It just did a perfect J curve through a Q at Bard, and just on the way perfectly threw down a ward and W to it to try and get behind him to cut off his exit, while Morgana came in to help him finish him off.
Beautiful play, but we have Eckhart going right back into it, and oh, you know he's got to be triggered after that one. When you're so close to killing the Cho'Gath, and he just manages to bring out that feast, it can be pretty crushing.
I'm going to be seeing Vlad. Because of his dominance in the mid lane, he feels perfectly comfortable actually counter jungling and taking a Raptor camp here. However, he is going to be 3-man ganked yet again by the Bard and Zac coming on in to help support Lux, and it's going to be his downfall. He's getting a little bit too comfortable in the mid lane, that he's not really able to watch out, and he's not really using his wards to ward for those ganks. As we see Bard come in with his magical journey to try and poke down and keep Cho'Gath from backing, and bait him out. Even though he takes a big chunk of damage, he's able to get away while Camille just ease on in, uses her Hextech ultimatum, and just finishes off the Cho'Gath.
So Twitch is kind of, it seems like just the same power level right now as the Tristana. This bot lane has been fairly tame, all things considered. The Bard has those kills by roaming up mid lane and, you know, doing what the Bard does best, going on the mystical journey, helping out the rest of his team.
Indeed, and something that I want to point out is that up until that fight where Twitch pushed Tristana off of lane, despite being at that 20 CS advantage, they were actually going pretty even in gold as well.
Their items seem to stack up basically identically.
Indeed, and something as well to point out is that because of Bard, you're looking at him being 4-3-1. With those 4 kills on top of all of his roams to try and help out his team, he's sitting at at 4,300 gold so far. So he's actually almost up there with his ADC unlike the matchup in the bot lane over onto Drexel, with Morgana being 1,300 gold behind Twitch.
It just
So-
goes to show the power of roaming. It's relieved a lot of pressure off the Lux, who was struggling in the early game to deal with that Vladimir. And it really hasn't cost his ADC all too much. He definitely has been down in farm, but you know, all things considered, by leaving his ADC alone as much as he has, it's worked out by and large fairly well.
Indeed, his ADC's been able to really just kind of stick to farming and play relatively safe here. Something that I do want to point out is that Bard is actually trying to first buy a Nashor's Tooth. To get away from that subject real fast, we do see Cho'Gath again trying to fight in this top lane. We have Zac trying to come in for the gank while Lee Sin is sitting behind Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath was able to get that first tower up in the top side, or not the first tower, but the first tower in top lane.
No, the first tower in top lane and the first tower. Both of them.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Look,
couldn't
as
tell.
we see 3 people coming into the top side, trying to take out that Cho'Gath.
He's just going to nom back down on Camille yet again. As we see Bard land his binding, is going to be perfect for them to finish off and for him to give that kill on over towards Tristana. As they're going to pop Zac's passive and just give the kill on over towards Vladimir, as they target that T2 tower on the top side. Tristana is trying her best to try and whittle down that T1 tower on the bottom side of the map. But the minion wave is going to come through. She doesn't have a minion wave backing her up, so it is going to stay afloat as Cho'Gath tries to work his way down, and Bard sits in that bush trying to do a little bit of a play here. However, they see Cho'Gath and they run away.
The Lee Sin feeling very confident in himself. He definitely has a lot of damage within all the items he has. But again, pressing X on the keyboard to check how much gold he has, he's sitting on 3k. You know, he has gold below, and he'll be going back and getting, you know, a couple nice items for him. So, looking to build a Black Cleaver. He has the, oh, excuse me, we got some stuff going on in mid lane.
Man, through this fight, something that really kind of messed them up was Bard did land that ult onto Twitch. However, Twitch was actually invisible at the time, so it wasn't able to do too much there. And in the end, whenever Twitch came out of that ultimate from that stasis, he was able to immediately turn on and kill Bard along with Tristana as well.
Beautiful placement from the kick by the Lee Sin, picking up the pretty slick double kill. You know, that was very well done. And as we were mentioning earlier, we haven't seen the Lee Sin personally being played on the side of Drexel, but he's definitely putting on a show for us today.
Indeed, I mean, he's definitely doing really well at 8-1-1. We are probably going to see Cho'Gath go down right here. He is going to ult Tristana, trying to get a big chunk of damage on there, but they are able to focus out Cho'Gath, and with that ignite going down, it's going to be double kill for Bard. We are going to see him with that Nashor's Tooth with that extra bit of damage on top of his meat, so that's going to be a hidden support carry right here with 6 kills onto that Bard.
Definitely going to have a good chunk of damage whenever somebody is unfortunate enough to find him in the jungle, but don't know if it's going to be enough to take out the characters he needs to be taken out, such as that Vladimir almost being able to sneak out a cheeky Q onto the Bard, but team manages to take him out and relieve a little bit of pressure from the map. Let's see if they can transition this into a dragon, since a lot of them seem to be on the bot side.
We do see Lee Sin trying his best to try and catch out Tristana. However, he is forced to use his dragon kick to knock back the Zac away from him, as well as trying to bait out some of that stuff from Tristana, but he just W's away on a ward as they turn towards that dragon like you mentioned and focus on it. I wish that Lee Sin was helping actually take it. They probably would have gotten it by now, instead of focusing just on Cho'Gath's damage. they're going to couch out all 4 members of Virginia Commonwealth over here, so they are going to notice that they are coming on down. But noticing that, we are going to see that Righteous Glory pick up and use from Cho'Gath to try and catch out Tristana. However, he just didn't have the time to pop down his ultimate on her. We're going to see Tridge actually catch out Lux before she can pop her ultimate. He's just going to burst her down with his E. Zach trying his best to try and catch out this Morgana, while the rest of Drexel is in the jungle trying to fight, take that red buff, while Cho'Gath and Vlad do try and fight and split up this Tristana and Bard, as Zach and Camille slowly pick away at this Morgana, trying their best to kill her. In the end, it's going to be a ultimate used from Camille with that Hextech ultimatum dropping down to make sure that she gets right on towards that Morgana to get that last hit for the kill.
I want to do some numbers. Bard has 1300 health, and let's do a quick look at how much damage Cho'Gath is doing right now. Alright, so Cho'Gath true damage feat right now is doing, what is that, 700 damage? That's 475 plus 240. You know, carry the 1, that's taking you, yeah, that's taking you up to 700 damage. That is half of Bard's health bar just from a Cho'Gath steal.
Unfortunately, though, we are going to see that on the side of Drexel, it looks like they're not focusing these dragons as much. This game, they're focusing heavily on the top side of the map, where it's been Cho'Gath actually down here trying his best to focus on towards the dragon. Now Tristana's focusing the dragon while they try and focus it up, but
wants to grab it, he does.
Yeah, Cho was able to just walk on in and feast on those stacks, since they turned their attention away and they didn't have that smite from Zach up yet. So they tried to force that dragon and keep them away, but it just wasn't enough to try and keep Cho away. Gonna be a Tempered Fate coming down on towards Bard himself, just trying to delay them out a little bit, but they are going to end up taking him out, giving the kill over to Twitch, I believe, and now they're just gonna try and have Cho to sit there, BM, and tank that tower while they just continue to push that wave and go for that dragon there. We're gonna be seeing Vlad immediately pop his ghost. He did ult and E and Q Tristana, but it wasn't enough to kill her. He's going to be just running around trying to bait out as much as he can, while we have Twitch focusing on that inhibitor, while the rest of the team is just kind of wandering around trying to fight. As the forced engage coming on over from Zach and Camille here, they are going to be able to take down Vladimir and Cho'Gath for their BM, as Morgana and Twitch are able to run away and walk out, while Lee kind of wanders towards the top side. I believe he's going to try and get some vision control over on towards the Baron, so that way they know if anything. However, Morgana and Twitch actually, despite their multiple attempts to back here, just sat in the bush, took a good old tip from Fnatic, turned it into a death bush, and just caught out Tristana and popped her almost instantly.
That's one of the problems once the opposing team has taken all your towers up to your inhib. The jungle no longer becomes yours. No part of your side of the map is safe. Sure enough, they found that out the old fast way with another death push, and sure, hey, they come back with one of their own and get the shutdown hold onto their middle. So maybe she'll be able to get some items happening now. But Cho'Gath is coming in, using the Righteous Glory, getting a lot of damage off in the big AoE slow. Vladimir's in the backline doing a ton of damage to everyone back there. The Zach with the less bounce. Oh my goodness. It's too little, too late, as they charge down middle with Banner of Command melee minion. I think they probably missed it on the the cannon minion, considering the pings coming out from his team, but I think he'll do good all the same.
Indeed, with it on the melee minion here, it did kind of delay. That cannon minion did tank some shots so that it didn't focus on it, so with that increased attack speed it was able to do, I think it was a little bit more damage efficient for that one tower, but for them to get through by putting it on the melee instead of the cannon.
Vladimir just doing some nice chunk damage, almost able to pick up the Tristana, but the ultimate too much, pushing him back, picking up the kill. Catching out the Morgana here, though, for Virginia Commonwealth is not giving up on this fight. Shogat, though, with just the beastly beast, chomping down that Bard. Lux hitting the big ultimate, able to take out the Twitch as they finish off Shogat, getting a double kill back onto that mid carry. Looks like she'll be able to start getting, again, some additional items. She's only completed one so far. She's got upgraded Seraph's Embrace, got boots, but no second item yet. A lot of pings coming out to Baron, so we'll see if VCU is able to transition there quick enough before the opposing jungle can go over there and really start worrying about the contesting of the dragon, or excuse me, of the Baron.
Something that you do have to watch out for is the fact that right now, Camille and Zach are kind of filling in. Zach more so that tanky role. Camille is able to take a little bit of a brunt of the assault. Whereas if you look over on the side of Lee Sin, instead of building tankier, he's actually going like full damage right now. He has that Warrior Enchantment, that Ravenous Hydra completed, along with that Black Cleaver and a Caulfield's Warhammer sitting out here. So he's going to be having that 40% CDR. However, despite that, we're going to move on over to this team fight. So what had happened was, as Twitch came on down, Zach and them were able to catch the vision from their minions pushing on up. So they were able to jump in with Zach, and the rest of the team follow up from Magical Journey from Bard. They were able to just completely wipe him out. Now we have Cho'Gath essentially trying to 3v1 here, while Morgana's trying her best just to kite back and keep Camille in. With that ult popping her down, Cho'Gath's just going to immediately chomp down on her and get that kill, while Vladimir and Lee Sin snuck up the top side to catch that split pushing Tristana. We are going to be seeing Cho'Gath just do about everything that he wants to here. Looks like he's going to try and not quite get Lux, but he is going to be focusing on Zach here, getting him real low, making them all back off. We're going to see that Banner of Command going down on that cannon minion again. I say again, finally. So they're going to be just pushing up that middle lane with that 3-for-0 that they had to try and make sure that they get this inhib to put some more pressure while they possibly focus on Baron, or possibly go on to get that dragon if they don't feel comfortable. All members of Virginia Commonwealth are up now, though, and they just immediately run towards protecting that bottom inhibitor. They say just no way. They leave Cho'Gath there, let him tank up a little bit to give them the rest of the time they need to get away from that assault, to make sure that they have adequate room. However, we are going to see Twitch caught out right here. Hextech Ultimatum going down on him, locking him down in a very small space in the jungle, and then just catching him off. Now his team just showing a little bit of dissatisfaction with what had happened there with the Miha pings going down. Now they're not able to take Baron. They're trying to just set up vision and kite out. We do see Lee Sin coming down and executing Lux. He's going to be finishing off this Zach here, and then Vladimir with the support from Morgana and that black shield. He's able to do a lot of damage here, along with Lee Sin finally coming on in to finish off that Bard, while doing a little bit of AoE damage to Tristana, making her low enough for Vlad to finish her with the Q. As we see Cho teleport in towards the bot lane to try and get some more damage on this inhibitor.
That was the fight for VCU to take. They were up 5. It was going to be a 5v3, but the engage was just not all there. They didn't have quite the coordination they needed to orchestrate that, and sure enough, they paid for it. What could potentially be the game if they are able to focus these towers down.
Indeed, with the death timers coming up, we have Zach and Lux. Not exactly the best players to try and protect here, but we do have Bard Falling coming up, so he's able to push them back. Zach trying to zone off with his ultimate there a little bit. but Cho is just doing a great job of soaking up a lot of damage and doing the damage to try and push people off, making them go back into their base while letting his backline finish off that Zac and Camille. As Cho'Gath feels a little too comfortable going into that base, but it doesn't matter as we have Twitch, which actually just died in that dive there, but doing a decent amount of damage to the Nexus before he walked on in, along with Morgana finishing it off there with all their minions, including their Baron Empowered caster there.